Hello, my name is Christopher Cole, and because I'm recording this in September of 2016, I'm the first vice chair of the Pima County Libertarian Party. Today I'd like to talk to you about the Declaration of Independence, gun control, and the Second Amendment. Now I'm going to presume other people have talked about this. I don't know of any. My specific take on this, I mean. So let me start. In the Declaration of Independence, the Founding Fathers established the right and the obligation of a people to rebel when their government becomes a tyranny. And the Founding Fathers knew from personal experience that a standing army is an instrument of oppression. Thus, the militia. Now, with certain exceptions and certain additions, the militia is defined as every male citizen in good health over the age of 17 and up through the age of 45. In 1787, the militia in the standing army were trained. Not well trained, but trained. And both were armed with the same muskets, the same artillery, and the same style of cavalry. They were pretty much equal. The militia could resist the standing army's attempts to impose a tyranny if such happened. Fast forward to today. The standing army has assault rifles and assault carbines, machine guns, artillery, armored fighting vehicles, and of course, attack helicopters. The militia, well, if they're lucky, they got a hunting rifle or two and maybe some pistols. No artillery, no assault rifles, no machine guns, no armored fighting vehicles, no artillery, no attack helicopters. If the militia tried to stand up against the standing army to defend Americans from a tyranny that the government was going to try and impose, they'd have no chance. So why do you think the government has disarmed the militia? Why do you think the government has ensured that the militia has no training, is unorganized, doesn't even know that they're the militia? Remember, if a tyranny is going to be imposed on America, it's the government that's going to do it. I accuse the government of no conspiracies to impose a tyranny. I just point out they could. And if they wanted to, there is no defense. Somebody told me that, oh no, the army would never fire upon their family and friends. Well, I served in the military. Yeah, the army would fire on the people that are rebelling, regardless of whether or not that rebellion is justified or not. Think about it. Almost nobody in the army is stationed where their family's at. Their ties to the local community are fragile at best. Their ties to each other, their comrades in arms, the ones who will be saving their lives in combat, are much stronger. I've also been told that opposition to tyranny is one thing, but we've got to stop all of these mass murders. Well, think about it. In the 1950s and the 1960s, it wasn't very hard to buy a gun. There was no stacks of paperwork that you had to do, no waiting periods, no background checks. You just walked in, paid your money, and walked out with your gun. And yet in the 1950s and the 1960s, mass murders didn't happen that much, if at all. So what changed? Obviously, it's not the availability of the guns. It's the mindset of the people. Our American culture has changed, and I think for the worst, because the change in this culture allows people to believe that it is perfectly proper to commit mass murder in order to get name recognition, to have their 5 minutes of fame. That's what's changed. You know, here in Pima County, Gabrielle Giffords used to be the member of the House of Representatives for this area. She was shot, along with 8 others, by a left-wing wacko because she wasn't left-wing enough. She was shot by somebody who thought it was perfectly all right to try and kill a large number of people over a disagreement in politics. That's wrong. And that's what's changed. Yes, we've had the occasional assassination and attempted assassination. The mass murder, I think the closest we've come was when some guys smuggled some guns into the House of Representatives and opened fire on the members of Congress. If I remember correctly, they didn't kill anybody, but they were quite a ways away. But still, from the late 40s on until the late 80s, the early 90s, mass murder did not happen that much. Now, unfortunately, it seems like every month there's new reports of shootings from people that just want to get famous, think that mass murder is a way to advance their cause. It doesn't, of course, but that is not what should be happening. The attitude of the people needs to change. I'm not saying we go back to all of the culture of the 1950s, but I think we got rid of some good when we got rid of the bad. As always, I'm going to end. Unless you honestly look at both sides of an issue, you don't have an opinion, you're a parrot. Thank you.